All right, fight fans, I am joined with the star, one of the stars of Kingdom on DirecTV, Mr. Jonathan Tucker. Jonathan, how are you enjoying the fight so far?
This is a privilege to be here. You know, what we're trying to do on Kingdom is give the same sort of respect to the fighters families, the fans that people have had it for many years now in television with cops, with lawyers, with firemen. So we're trying to give back to this community, so it's great to be here now.
Now, there's somewhat of a personal touch for you on this evening, because one of the guys that trains you on the show is actually in the cage right now, Mr. Juan Archuleta.
Juan, the Spaniard Archuleta. You know, what we've gotten to see with Juan on a personal level is the sacrifice that he has made, and not just that Juan's made, but his family, his friends, his supporters. And what you get to learn is it's not just that personal connection with Juan. It's not just his sacrifice, but you know, he's fighting a wonderful fighter tonight who's also made these same sort of sacrifices. So these are two guys who are wonderful strikers. Juan's a first-rate wrestler, and it's going to be exciting to see what happens this evening.
From a personal point of view, you got butterflies in your stomach right now?
From a personal point of view, you can't help but root for your friend. I've seen what the amount of training he's gone through. I've seen what he's given up. And this is a guy who's really hungry. He's got a lot of people who care about him, and I don't just mean as fans and supporters, but you know, there's some big people here tonight who are looking to see some big things, and I'm hoping they're going to get it.
Now, as Alfred Khashakyan makes his way into the cage, where can fans that want to watch the show Kingdom find this TV show? It's kind of hard to find. I know it's on DirecTV audience, like not to give it away, but where else can fans find this television show?
We can find Kingdom on AT&T Uverse now. So if you have AT&T Uverse for cable, if you have DirecTV for cable, you can watch the show. You can also catch it on Amazon. You can buy it. You can buy it on iTunes the day after it airs, and the first season that we just had.
All right, and those MMA fans that are out there, keep an eye out for yours truly. I play Fight Judge on the show. Don't ask me for my autograph. You will not get it. Let's turn it over to veteran ring announcer Chris Gregory for the official introductions.
Present to you 3 rounds of MMA at 136 pounds. This fight is sponsored by Body Auto Group. First, in the blue corner, wearing black and green, he weighed in at 135.4 pounds. He stands 5'8". From Venice, California, now fighting on a Navy stream with a record of 6-1. This man is a gladiator challenge champion. Here is Juan, the Spaniard Archuleta. And in the corner, what he's doing, weighing 135.4 pounds. He stands 5'9". From Glendale, fighting for GSC, born in Power One. Right behind, the fearless Alfred Khashakyan. Your reporting now to the instruction, Mike Beltran.
We've been over the rules already. They told you to stop at all time. Obey my commands at all time. Don't go down if you want. So, Bill, come on up. Handle the business. Let's go.
All right. After receiving final instructions, the third man in charge of the cage, veteran referee Mike Beltran, we are ready to start this bout. I am joined by famous actor Jonathan Tucker from Kingdom. And we are underway. Khashakyan and Archuleta, no touch of the gloves. These guys mean business, Mr. Tucker.
You know, the movement is what I really enjoy watching here. These are guys who really know how to find distance, how to have distance management, and to watch them feel it out here at the beginning. There's a beautiful front kick, but figuring out what people respond to is so critical when you're watching a fight like this.
Yeah, when you have athletes of this caliber, you know, they can put each other's lights out right away. The feeling out process is very... There you go, come on, Juan! Juan in on a double leg, but Alfred ties up the neck. Juan gets the takedown.
You don't want to use too much energy right now. You know, the fact is Juan is a D1 wrestler out of Purdue. Nobody has a better ground game right now in this level of MMA, but he's got to. There's some blood right now. We've seen some blood on Juan's nose, it looks like. But coming to the ground is probably what Juan's game plan is going to be, and let's see if he's going to be able to pull it off. Khashakyan stepping up.
Khashakyan doing a great job to get back to his feet, but Archuleta controlling him, sponging him really well right now, grinding him up against the cage.
That's some real takedown defense. Khashakyan, you have to give him credit. You know, there's really, if Juan's going to go at those legs, it takes a real fighter to be able to defend it, and he did a wonderful job there. The underhook's on Juan right now. He's using that fence. Khashakyan's working the body a little bit, trying to figure out how he's going to get out of this, but it's a lot of energy being expended in the first 30 seconds.
Absolutely. So far, this is not what Khashakyan wanted. He did not want to end up on this end of Khashakyan's grind.
I like Khashakyan throwing the knee in there, trying to push off, but if you get caught, there you go.
Excellent outside trip by Archuleta. Now working on top position, grinding Khashakyan up against the cage. Khashakyan attempting the wall walk, trying to get back to his feet.
This is definitely not what this is not what Juan's opponent was hoping to accomplish right now. I think he wanted to strike. He's an excellent striker. He has a 5-1 record, and he wins when he strikes. We'll see how he does on the ground game, but right now he's certainly doing a good job using the fence to trying to stand up again. And he's breathing. He's going to work the body.
So far, Archuleta implementing his game plan to perfection.
The crowd certainly here is rooting for Khashakyan.
Yeah, this is Khashakyan's home territory right here.
You know, you can tell an experienced fighter by how well they use the fence. Khashakyan's doing a great job, but Juan certainly has got his legs. There we go, it's another pound. Judges have to see this. You know, when you see that sort of ability to manipulate another fighter, it adds up in terms of points.
You know, getting back to your feet and then getting brought back down to them, that's got to weigh heavy on your psyche, too. You think you're getting there, and then all of a sudden you're right back down again.
I think Archuleta's doing a pretty good job of breathing right now. His head position is fantastic. He's really protecting himself from strikes, and he's getting some good breaths. Juan looks to be setting up some really good position right now, and if he has the time on the clock, the chance of the clock, he could have a really strong position.
Khashakyan back to his feet, but Archuleta refusing to give up that grind.
He brings him down again.
Third or fourth takedown so far in the round for Archuleta. Absolutely imposing the wrestling game plan like we thought he would. Khashakyan cannot get his game plan started. He just can't get the car in gear.
He's in there. You know, this is a D1 wrestler. These guys train every single day. Their ground game is very, very hard to pass. And if he can pass this guard right now, Khashakyan could be in some real trouble.
There's just something about the relentless grind of the D1 wrestler. It really just, it takes the salt right out of you.
It's not just the technical skill, too. Wrestlers know how to condition, and Juan's conditioning has been extraordinary.
Big right hand for Archuleta lands.
And he continues to protect his head. There we go. He's going to lock up that left leg there for Khashakyan, and then it could be a real problem if he's able to get his hands in there. He's going to turn him over, hands fight hands, and there he's going to go. Get a knee in, boom, he could drop some big knees right there. Almost.
So far, all Archuleta in round one. Khashakyan having a hard time just controlling Archuleta. He can't do anything at all from the bottom. All Archuleta so far in round one.
I think Juan's doing a fantastic job, too, of using that fence. Whereas Khashakyan was using it to stand up in the first two takedowns, Juan is doing a phenomenal job of hitting right now. About to. There we go. There's the hits. Here they come.
Coach Joe Daddy Stevenson calling from elbows.
There's some elbows. Boom. 10 seconds. Juan's going to end this thing with some real nasty strikes.
To Khashakyan's credit, not a lot of those punches are landing. And the round comes to a close. I got to give that's a 10-8 round for Archuleta in my eyes.
You know, this is a wonderful opportunity for Juan to show what he's made of. He's not somebody who's trained for the past year for fights like this, past few years. He's not somebody who comes out of a D1 school ready to hit it at 100%. This is a guy who has been patient, who has waited for the right opportunity, and they have been few and far between, so it's great that he's getting the chance right now to be able to fight and show what he's made of.
This Khashakyan hometown crowd is on their feet, and they appear shocked.
Khashakyan's walking around. You know, it shows something. He looks a little confused, actually. I was going to say it looks nice when you're not sitting, but you know, Archuleta looks very calm. He's getting some really good coaching from Juan right now, and I think this second round actually could be a real revealer of what this win or loss is going to be.
All right, seconds are clearing the cage. Referee Mike Beltran looks asked to see the mouthpieces, and we are underway. Jonathan King from the Clinch Report here for Lights Out Promotions and Bash Boxing. I am joined in my commentary booth, if you can call it a booth, by Jonathan Tucker from the hit TV show Kingdom. And we are in the middle of round 2 here underway. Juan Archuleta and Alfred Khashakyan right where we left off in round 1.
The kick, he's got to follow through. You can't kick like that and not follow through after a round like that where a guy dominates you on the ground. If you're going to kick, boy, you better kick. You better commit. That was a real mistake.
After spending round 1 on your back, I pretty much just abandoned the kicking game and just stick with the hands.
Well, if you're going to stick with the hands, then do that. But when you open up with a front kick that's not even going to connect, boy, you're asking for a real solid loss.
Archuleta doing a great job keeping his legs back and the body weight heavy, controlling Khashakyan on the ground.
The body control is extraordinary, and what people don't realize is it is hard to hold another man down when that guy is doing everything he can to stand up. And this is a real fighter. I mean, this is not an easy fight that Juan has entered into, and the fact that he's able to hold him and manipulate him like this says a lot about the conditioning and a lot about technical skill.
Referee Mike Beltran looking in, asking for action right now. Juan not doing a lot, just sitting on the top position. Khashakyan looking to slip out the back door.
Khashakyan really, using that cage again, it shows this is an experienced fighter who's come here and showed up to have a real fight. You can't let a fight, when you've got that body control, you can't let a fighter like this, of this caliber, use the fence to manipulate that. He almost took his back, and this fight could have ended in 10 seconds.
Archuleta showing his pedigree, controlling Khashakyan yet again, reestablishing position, reestablishing his weight, showing that, big elbows, big left elbows find a home.
You know, elbows are damaging, particularly when you can get a little bit of velocity behind them, and it looks like he's able to do it here. He's certainly tying up the arms. And those legs, Khashakyan is really working those legs. He's got to hold those back, otherwise somebody like Juan's going to pass this guard and he's going to be able to end this thing.
Khashakyan trying to close up the guard. Archuleta trying to step over and posture up so he can land a ground and pound. Looks like he's trying to get over to side control. Khashakyan again working out of the open guard. He closes it, then opens it. Archuleta seems content to work out of either the open or closed guard.
These are the knees that we've seen out of Juan in his past few fights that can just devastate another fighter. Khashakyan has a chin, he's got a body that can take these sort of shots, but he hasn't gotten quite the sort of pain that I think Juan is able to inflict. If he can get these elbows and knees in from this position, it could be a really wonderful second round for Juan Archuleta.
Step over to the quarter guard for Juan. If he can get that leg through, he might be able to get to side control and land some of those knees that you were talking about, Mr. Tucker.
I hate when people want the fight to stand up. If you're not really watching the fight closely, or you don't really know MMA, you can't see what's trying to be made here, the opportunities that are trying to be presented. And right now, Juan is really trying to open something up, and he's doing something. But to stand them up would be a real problem.
Most of the people calling for stand-up are definitely Alfred fans.
Yeah, well, Beltran's an experienced guy. He's not going to stand them up because people are yelling at him. He can see that Juan's looking to open something up, that he's looking for openings. He's trying to figure out. There we go. There we go. There are those elbows you're looking for.
Beautiful short elbows by Archuleta. Turn the chin of Khashakyan. Very lazy hip so far for Khashakyan. Not doing much to get Archuleta off him. He seems content to stay on bottom. I don't know if he's got much left.
You know, this is when that conditioning comes in. How much longer can you withhold or withstand this sort of punishment? Can you get your hips down? Can you, can you use that abdominal effort? Can you get an opportunity to stand up? And at this point, it certainly isn't happening, particularly with that head position that Juan. I gotta say, the thing that I'm admiring the most is that head position. He's just really protecting himself.
When I was doing my analysis for this fight, I said Khashakyan's the type of guy that tries to take your head off with every punch. Archuleta's the type of guy that tries to steal your soul slowly. He's kind of like a demon. He tries to bring you into the later rounds and slowly tries to take your soul. He's kind of an evil fighter to watch, you know?
That's the wrestling background. You know, you work one move at a time. You look for opportunities. You're patient. You breathe. But, you know, you never know. That's what's so wonderful about this sport. You can end the second round with 2 rounds to Archuleta in a dominant factor. But if Juan doesn't keep those hands up and he doesn't pay attention, boy, this thing can end very quickly. 10 seconds left. It's a nice, actually, left hand right to the face for Juan. Now we've opened them up. Khashakyan's opened up a little bit.
Yeah, Khashakyan's got a nice cut on the top of his nose. Looked like Juan was setting up a head and arm choke towards the end of the round. So far, I don't know how you're scoring this fight. It's definitely 2 rounds to none for Archuleta, but I have 2 10-8 rounds on my scorecard for Archuleta. Khashakyan has not
been this is an Archuleta win for the 2 rounds, but you know, that's the thing. You gotta stay focused. You have to respect your opponent. This is not an easy fight for Juan Archuleta. This is a really experienced, really talented young man who stepped into this cage with him. And if he doesn't pay attention, boy, it can snap in a second.
And Khashakyan has the kind of hands that he can turn the lights out at any point in time. His last fight against Anthony Paredes, he was losing 10-8 first round, 10-8 second round, and knocked him out with a minute left in the 3rd round.
I mean, Khashakyan is walking looking a little stunned. I mean, I think he wanted to come in here and he wanted to bang. The fact is, if you're a fighter who's true to themselves, you know you don't have to impress anybody. If you don't have to impress anybody, Juan doesn't need to come in here and bang with a known striker. He can make this his game. He can fight his game. He can fight his game plan. He's done that thus far, and if he continues to do that, it might be to his benefit. But if he can get caught by some of those bangers that Khashakyan is throwing, you never know.
You don't want to get into a gunfight bringing a knife, that's for sure. 3rd round, great fight so far. Great show of sportsmanship. Here we go. Touch of the gloves and a hug by both combatants.
It's that respect that I love so much. It's when these 2 guys can go toe-to-toe, can ground and pound, can hit that mat, and will stand up at the end of the day, after the weigh-ins, after the training, after the sacrifice, after all the money, after all this, they can stand up in that 3rd round and give each other a hug. That's what the sport is about. There's no better sport to show sportsmanship than MMA.
Khashakyan looking to open up with kicks. Archuleta backing away, perhaps sensing the victory already. Looking for a shot. It's not there. Khashakyan effectively sprawling away. Khashakyan stalking here.
Khashakyan's got to commit to some of this. Now it's to the ground again. I mean, I really think the problem here for Khashakyan was the lack of commitment. If you're going to strike, boy, you better commit. It's not about figuring out whether your opponent can handle your mitts or your legs. You got to commit.
Dynamite analysis, Mr. Tucker. You cannot throw strikes expecting to get takedown or worried about getting takedown. You have to throw those strikes with intent that you're going to land those strikes. You can't throw those hands worrying about that takedown. And I think that's what happened.
You know, that's why you see so many fighters in the beginning of fights taking those jabs, figuring out that distance, but don't throw something that's going to do some damage unless you're really going to commit to it. Again, we're on the ground game. Hear those knees. And this is, again, a struggle on the ground. And I got to tell you something. You don't want to be on the ground with Juan Archuleta. This is what he does day in and day out. He doesn't work on his wrestling game. He doesn't work on his jiu-jitsu game. He works on striking because that's his weakest spot. And his weakest spot, frankly, is better than most. You know, his C game is better than most strikers' A game. But I'll tell you this: you don't go to the ground with Juan Archuleta.
Big elbows from Archuleta, softening up Khashakyan. Mike Beltran took a step closer.
He almost passed that guard there. He's almost in some sort of a side guard. Khashakyan's doing a wonderful job with the legs. There we go.
Oh, looking to step over in the mount.
Is he going to be able to pull that leg out? We'll see. Either way, he still has enough force to be able to come down with those elbows, which has been so effective for him tonight. And you know what? You know, people joke about how much they can deadlift. I don't know how much you're deadlifting these days, but there are a few exercises in the gym that make a lot of sense. And I would say Khashakyan could certainly use a few of these to get up right now, because Juan certainly is stepping up with all the prerequisites.
At this point in time, I think Khashakyan's Energy has just been sapped, sponged up.
There would have been a great opportunity to get a choke. I mean, he had his hands right there. He could have turned him over. And if he had had the conditioning or there hadn't been as much damage in the first 2 rounds, maybe that would have been something to happen. But here's something. There are those opportunities that you look in the 3rd round and you say, what could I have done better in training? What could I have been done better in the 1st round or the 2nd round? How much less damage could I have taken?
Absolute, just relentless pressure from Juan Archuleta here. I don't know if there is anything much more that Khashakyan could have done, or if it's just a matter of everything that Archuleta did right. It's an absolute 100% A+ on his game plan so far tonight. He's dominated the ground game.
God, turning around like that just scares the hell out of me. You know, you give your back like that to a fighter right here, or you can get caught real fast. I mean, he's going to try to use this fence to stand up, but I'll tell you something, it looks like Juan might be able to toss him right up and over. And he just doesn't have the energy. I mean, he's hung over right now. He looks like a dead man standing.
Juan back in on a deep double, pulls the hips right out. It's absolutely deflating. It's got to be absolutely deflating for Khashakyan. Gets back to his feet and then brought right back down again.
I think you said it. I mean, both of these fighters came in with game plans. One was to strike and one was to take it to the ground. And one fighter has succeeded in executing that. And Juan Archuleta is on top yet again, 3rd round, making his game plan happen. And he doesn't need to have it. You know, he doesn't need a knockout. He doesn't need. Well, he could get it right here if he can. He's got his back almost.
Archuleta looking to get both hooks in. Khashakyan back to his feet. Looking to roll under. It's not there. 10 seconds left in the round. Dominating performance for Juan Archuleta, who's going to finish this fight in side control. Jonathan Tucker, thank you so much for joining me in the booth. It's been an absolute pleasure.
This is, I gotta say, it's such a thrill, and I don't think most fans have the opportunity to be able to sit this close and watch 2 extraordinary fighters who have sacrificed so much and trained so hard come together and put it up here for everybody and all these fans to watch. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
The pleasure's been all mine. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a round of applause for
The guy was not even scared on the cage, fucking falling in on him. You can get a fight there, you know?
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, Judge 1 scores now 30-26. Judge 2 sees it 30-27. And Judge 3 has it 30-25. All in favor for the winner by unanimous decision in the blue corner. Juan Archuleta!
First of all, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Alfred Khashakyan. He's one of the toughest summary pitchers in the game. So we're proud of him. But first of all, Alfred, or Juan rather, that was a good old-fashioned clinic of what I call American wrestling. Was that the game plan coming in?
Kick his fucking ass. You better, bud. You know, we come in here, we train, we work our ass off every day. We come in here, we train against objects. We don't game plan for people. We come in and we come to dominate, put ourselves in our strongest positions, outwork these guys, and take a pounding on these guys. You know what I mean? So that was the game plan, yeah.
Now, a lot of you guys don't know this, but this guy right here, he not only trains as a full-time fighter, but he also gets a lot of actors ready for the TV show Kingdom. And a lot of these guys are in the house tonight. So I just want to shout out to them. After weigh-ins last night, he had to go on set and work. So this guy's a full-time worker, full-time fighter, and we respect the hell out of that. So who do you got to shout out to? Who do you got to thank? Who makes this possible for you?
You know, it's a big team. I got a lovely Beyonce right here that takes care of me, guys. She's a mother of my 3 kids, and she's very diligent on everything she does. I got a very strong background as well. All my family, my new family's here. They're helping me push me to the limits and everything that I have to go to. So all you guys, thank you very much. Everyone, real quick, I want to give one of the best promoters a big shout out, Georgie. I know he didn't have to have me on here, but he put me against his toughest guy, I believe. And I came here, Don,